on the MLS merger. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Tony Thomas, and I am the 2016 RAAC president. Before we begin, I would like to thank all of the volunteer Realtor members from RAAC who participated in gathering all the information. So there was actually an MLS Evolve task force, and there were other committees that answered questions and did research on behalf of this initiative, and also our board of directors who discussed this over and over every month to get us to this point where we will vote next month. So while we're talking, if we come across a subject and you have a question, you can either hold your question until the end, or you can type in your question in the chat box as we go along. And at the end of the PowerPoint presentation, we will open it up and answer any and all questions. So with that said, I'm handing it over to our Executive Officer, Shauna Tarasso. And Shauna, you can start with the presentation.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and we really appreciate you joining us here today. What I am going to do is go through and give you all of the background information on how we got to this point, to where we are today, give you all the details as much as possible, and then at the end, we are going to answer all of the questions that you may have. So one thing that I wanted to let everybody know is that this important MLS Evolved merger vote is going to occur at the annual business meeting on October 12th. And we are going to be voting on it at that time, but there will not be a formal presentation that day. You will have an opportunity to ask any final questions that you may have on October 12th, but there won't be the formal presentation that you're seeing today. So if you know of individual folks who weren't able to join us today on the webinar, we will be recording this, and individuals will be able to watch it at a later time prior to that meeting on October 12th. So we are going to go ahead and get started. So how did we get to today? The background information is that in September of 2015, Trend, which is the MLS in the southeastern part of the state and also pieces of Delaware and New Jersey, and MRIS, the MLS to our immediate south that covers Maryland, West Virginia, parts of Virginia, and the DC area, announced that they were going to merge. And as part of that merger process, they indicated that they would like to invite other MLSs who surround their border markets to join them to see if they would be interested in consolidating as well. So there was a meeting that was held on October in 2015 in Baltimore where other individual MLSs who may be interested in merging could get more information, and RAAC had representatives at that meeting. We took the information back to our board of directors on what they were trying to accomplish, and in November of 2015, the RAAC board of directors voted to participate in the discussion so that we could be at the table, gather up the information for our membership, and present it to them to see if this is the direction that the board would like to take and merge our MLS system with a much larger regional system. So we have been participating in those meetings for the past year and throughout 2016 and have been an active member at the discussions on where we are today. So what is driving MLS consolidation? Well, one of the biggest drivers of MLS consolidation is our brokerage firms. There are many brokerage firms who are members of multiple MLS systems. In fact, one of our brokers told me that they are a member of 8 different MLS systems, and so therefore they're paying 8 different MLS fees, they're having to know 8 different rules and regulations, and they're putting their listings into 8 different systems. So that can be quite confusing, quite costly. And at the end of the day, what is happening is that it is confusing to the consumers. So many of you may work with consumers in a particular geographic area that is covered by more than one MLS system. For example, you may have a consumer who is interested in relocating to the Dillsburg area. Well, in order to ensure that that consumer is getting all of the information about properties that are available for sale in the Dillsburg area, you're probably going to have to send them information out of the Greater Harrisburg MLS system as well as information out of REAC's MLS system to ensure that they are getting all of the information on the properties that are available for sale. And so consumers are getting two different links from two different systems, and they find that to be very confusing. And at the end of the day, some of these consumers are going to Realtor.com or Zillow to find more accurate information because all of it is housed in that one location. And you, the realtor, is having to belong to multiple MLS systems to ensure that you can best meet the needs of your consumer. So a lot of the geographic boundaries that we currently have in place with our MLS borders are starting to not make a lot of sense. The same can be said for those individuals who might be interested in living in Lancaster County, or they might be interested in living in Eastern York County. And they're, again, having that same issue of getting feeds from different multiple MLS systems and the realtor having to belong to two systems. So who is involved in the merger discussions? And as you can see from this map, MRIS and Trend are the dark blue colors that you see referenced there. In addition, those MLSs that are in light blue are the MLS systems who have been at the table and who have been participating in the discussions. So that includes REAC's MLS, the Greater Harrisburg Association of Realtors MLS, Keystone MLS, which is comprised of Lebanon and Lancaster counties, Cumberland County down here in New Jersey, Sussex County in Maryland is at the table, the Coastal Association in Sussex County is in Delaware, and the Coastal Association in Maryland is at the table. Lehigh Valley and the Roanoke Association of Realtors, Roanoke being down here and Lehigh Valley being up here, were also a part of the initial discussions, but they have decided that they would no longer like to participate. So those are all of the folks who are at the table at the moment, and I'm going to give you the numbers. So if all of those MLSs who were represented on the map were to continue participation in the MLS system, that would involve 80,000 MLS subscribers who would be a part of MLS Evolved. That would include 6 states plus Washington, D.C. would be a part of this MLS system. There would be a consumer population of over 20 million, and it includes 9 million on and off market listings that would be encompassed into the MLS system. And it would include 10 million property parcels from the public tax assessment records that would be included in this MLS system. To my knowledge, this would make it the largest MLS in the country if all of the MLSs who are at the table continue to participate in the consolidation. So how will it benefit you? So there will be one system, one fee, and one set of rules. You wouldn't need to belong to multiple MLS systems if that's something that you currently do. And so it would save time, money, and confusion on the different rules and regulations that each of the MLS systems have. It would give you access to a broader marketplace. And also the MLS Evolved is promising to give you products that are beyond the standard MLS and public records so that you can enhance your business. So who is the vendor for the new MLS system? Well, this was a long conversation about who was going to be selected as the vendor, and they have selected CoreLogic's Matrix 360. And the reason for selecting CoreLogic's Matrix 360 is because 90% of the subscribers who are currently at the table are on a CoreLogic product. Matrix 360 is currently utilized by Trend MLS. Some of you may be members of MRIS, and MRIS uses CoreLogic's Matrix program, but it is not the same platform as the Matrix 360. So there will be a learning curve for all of the RAAC members because we utilize the Paragon system, and we would ensure that you would have ample opportunities to get training and knowledge on CoreLogic's Matrix 360. And we have a little bit of a brief demo to show you some of the benefits and features of the CoreLogic Matrix 360 program. So I'm going to turn it over to a YouTube video.
Hey gang, Mike Carlin here with you from the MLS Evolve Transition Team. Today I want to give you a little tour of some of the features that are going to be available in the new version of the MLS. And for this example, during this little demo here, I'm going to use trend listings that are available in the Matrix 360 platform. Let's get in there and take a look at some of these. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So the first thing I want to tell you about is the ability to view MLS and public records information all in one report, whether it's via the map or whether you did a search in the system. Now check out this map pop-up to see what I'm talking about here. This map pop-up includes basic listing details. It also shows assessment data, tax information, and public records information. Now if you wanted to learn even more about the property, these links here would give you access to full listing or public records reports. So take a look at those, really neat. So now, once you learn more about the property, and you find one listing that you want to take a look at and you get to do a deeper dive, there's going to be multiple tools that you can use to do all of this. So here's one that's really neat. If you're working with a buyer, you'll want to use this feature called Showing Cart. It makes it really easy to choose listings, arrange the order of the showings, and then schedule all the showings with just one click. Okay, let's go ahead back to the listings here, and let's click on this icon up here. This little icon is for the Listing Performance Report. This is really neat. The listing performance reports take all the online appointment data that you and others enter, and it creates this really cool report. This report compares showing appointment activity in the local market and compares it to your specific listing. It makes it really easy to show your seller how their home is stacking up against the competition, and it gives you this great opportunity to be able to suggest potential changes, maybe a price change, to help boost that listing's performance in the marketplace. Here's another thing. Once you're ready to submit or accept an offer, the buyer closing cost program is here for you, as well as this seller net sheet program. These programs will pull listing data into detailed calculators that will help you generate really cool reports. It uses local municipality tax rates and lots of other data to do these calculations. So what happens when you send information to your clients? Well, when you send listings, or maybe you send performance reports or closing cost estimates to your client, everything goes right to the portal. The portal is a customized space that's branded right to you and to your business. Additionally, the portal offers one-click access to full public records reports. That's really neat for your client for sure. That gives your client all the information they might need about a property all in one spot. So how are you going to learn about all of these great features and tools? Well, the new MLS is going to include a robust online support center. That's going to be available 24/7. You'll also have access to a call center available 7 days a week to answer your questions by phone, by email, even live chat. And there'll be a local account executive who will be out there spending time visiting your office and your local association office. So lots of help available. So those are just some of the great new features that are going to be in this new MLS system. As this project progresses, I'm sure I'll be back to tell you a little bit more. But for right now, this is Mike Carlin from the MLS Evolve Transition Team. Hope you guys have a great day. See ya.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that brief demo of the Matrix 360 program. There is a much longer demo that we have done for members in a webinar that was done in August. We do have that recorded webinar. It is available on RAAC.com under the MLS merger page. So if you'd like to take a closer look and a longer look at a deeper dive of what all of the features are of the Matrix 360 program, you can view that. And so some of the other things that will be a part of MLS Evolved is the subscription costs. So one of the features that we are giving is that the current MLS fees to RAAC are $47.91 per month. With going over to MLS Evolved, the fees in year 1 will be reduced to members to $41 per month. Year 2 would go down to $39 per month, and year 3 would step down to $35 per month, and that would be the base subscription cost for all of the participants in MLS Evolved starting in year 3. So compared to the current fees that you're paying to REAC, that would be a cost savings of $155 per year. So what does that base subscription include? So it includes everything, almost everything that REAC currently has in the Paragon system. The platform for setting up listings will continue to be ShowingTime. It is going to give you public record information for not only York and Adams counties, but for the counties that touch the York and Adams County market. So you would get access to the public records for Cumberland County, Dauphin County, Lebanon County, Franklin County, and you would get access to several of the counties in Maryland that border our southern market, Hartford County, Baltimore County, Frederick County, Carroll County, Maryland. So that was a nice added feature to going to the MLS Evolved, is gaining access to that additional public record information. They do not utilize the GeoJet platform for their mapping, but they do have a similar Bing map program, so you are able to see a mapping program that shows you the parcel numbers and the data on the map itself of the surrounding community. And one of the coolest features I think they have is the predictive analytics. So what the predictive analytics does is it takes the data from ShowingTime and it creates reports that you can use for your buyers and for your sellers. And for example, what it would do is it would take the data from ShowingTime and it would be able to calculate that, let's say you're looking to list a home in Haines Acres. And it can tell you that based upon the showing appointments that are set up for homes in Haines Acres, on average it takes about 5 showings before the property goes under contract. And that would be good information that you can share with your seller. And you could say, your seller could come to you and say, hey, you know, we've had 2 showings, we haven't gotten any offers, what's going on? You could say, on average, my market statistics show that it takes at least 5 appointments before properties in this particular neighborhood go under contract. And so that could help them make decisions. So if they've had 10 to 15 showings and no offers, then you know that's a good tool to have to talk to your clients to say, hey, maybe we need to talk about some improvements, or maybe we need to adjust the price accordingly. It also would be very helpful when you're working with your buyers. So if your buyers are interested in a particular neighborhood and you go into the MLS and you can show that on average homes in that neighborhood are going under contract within 2 to 3 showings, and you could tell your buyers, you know, if you sleep on it, you may not sleep in it. So you better make a quick decision here because properties are going under contract really fast in this particular marketplace. And it also has those client tools that you showed in the video for the client portal. It's extremely similar to what Paragon currently offers with our Client Connect, that you are able to set up a web page that is specific to your client. They're able to see the searches that match the property criteria that you set up for them. They can favorite those listings that they like. They can write you comments on those listings, and you can have communications back and forth all on a custom designed website specifically for your clients. So when would REAC convert over to the new MLS system? So the hard cutover date to the new system would be November 15th of 2017. So our contract with Paragon is set to expire in April of 2017, and they originally wanted us to convert over when our contract with Paragon expired. But the REAC Board of Directors, really felt that there may not be a great time to go through an MLS conversion, but one of the worst times to have to go through an MLS conversion would be in April, right at the beginning of the spring home buying season. So we wanted to ensure that we took that into consideration, so we were able to negotiate that we would extend our contract with Paragon through the end of 2017 and do the conversion in November. That would allow a better time in the marketplace when things tend to slow down to go through that MLS conversion to suit your business needs. Now, while we would cut over on November 15, 2017, that means Paragon would no longer be operating at that point. You would be all on MLS Evolve system. You would gain access to that system beginning in October 15th of 2017. And the reason for that early view access where you're not able to add and maintain listings, but we want you to have an opportunity to get into the system, get a feel for the system, and get used to doing searches and things of that nature so that you are comfortable when we go over to that cutoff date of November 15th on 2017. You would continue to pay your REAC MLS fees through December of 2017 to us, and then starting in January 1st of 2018 is when you would start paying your fees to MLS Evolved. If the Keystone MLS decides to continue their participation and convert to the new system, they would go over in September of 2015, or September 15th of 2017, and the Greater Harrisburg would convert over on October 15th of 2017. So both Lebanon, Lancaster, and the Greater Harrisburg associations have continued to be a part of the conversation with the MLS consolidation. We've heard from their leadership that they are very enthusiastic about the MLS merger, and Greater Harrisburg is having a membership vote on whether or not they will participate in the merger on October 5th, so we will know if Greater Harrisburg is definitely in before our merger vote, which is on October 12th, and the Lancaster Association of Realtors, to my knowledge, has preliminarily approved their participation in MLS Evolve pending final legal documentation review. So we think we're in a good spot here if our members decide that they would like to convert over to the new system, in that Greater Harrisburg is going directly before us. And as all of you are aware, that Greater Harrisburg is also on the Paragon system, so hopefully while they're doing that conversion, they will have worked out all of their bugs with any issues with the Paragon conversion prior to getting to us with their Greater Harrisburg conversion. So what will be the governance of the new MLS? And the new entity will be a for-profit entity with a 28 to 35 member board of directors. And as part of the contract that they have offered to us, REAC would have a representative on that board for the first 3 years. After the 3 years is lapsed, there is no specific representation for REAC on the board of directors, but it doesn't mean that we couldn't have a member of our association who is on the board, but it would be up to the shareholders of the association to determine who would have representation on the board at that time. Will REAC be an owner or a shareholder of MLS Evolved? And unfortunately, the answer to that question is no. As we've been participating in this past year with MLS Evolved discussions, it was always under the assumption that we were going to be shareholders and owners of the new entity. That is always what they had hoped to do. Unfortunately, because of the size of this organization and being the largest MLS in the country, they are being subjected to some issues with the filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission. And because MRIS and Trend have 37 associations, 32 of which are unaccredited, the SEC has a rule that you would be subject to more scrutiny and more issues that would need to be addressed if you have a single transaction in which there are more than 35 unaccredited shareholders in one transaction. So when MLS Evolved is stood up and started, the owners of MLS Evolved will be the associations that currently encompass Trend and MRIS. Because of the SEC filings, they're not able to guarantee us ownership at this time, but they would be able to offer ownership after a minimum of 6-month period. But they can't make any promises and they can't make any guarantees. But from our discussions with the folks who are involved at the MLS Evolve Visioning team and the leadership there, we believe that when they do have an opportunity to offer us ownership that they will, but we can't guarantee it and we can't promise it. So we would not be shareholders or owners of MLS Evolved. What they would do is they would offer us a contract with them that would get us many of the same benefits that the shareholder associations have. So have the rules and regulations been developed? And the answer to that is no at this point. There's only been a few large rules that have been addressed. And one of the biggest issues that we took down in our participation in the visioning sessions of MLS Evolved is that at RAAC we have addressed this issue on more than one occasion. Our brokers have told us that they do not want compensation to be offered based upon net sales price. And as such, RAAC only allows compensation to be based upon a flat dollar fee or a percentage of the gross sales price. The other MLSs that surround us do allow for compensation to be offered based upon net sales price. When we went to the visioning session, we told them that our brokers have been very strong on this issue. It has been a resounding, it should only allowed to be based upon percentage of gross sales price or a flat dollar fee, and we're very happy to tell you that they heard our voices there and that the compensation that will be allowed in the new MLS Evolve system will only be based upon a flat dollar fee or a percentage of the gross sales price, and we're going to work out the new construction compensation at a later time. So that was definitely a victory for the RAAC voice at the table. So does the MLS merger include lockboxes? And it does not. The lockboxes will continue to be operated by the local associations. And as all of you are aware, RAAC is on the Central Lockbox system, as well as the majority of the associations in Maryland and PEMAR are all on the Central Lockbox system, and we have reciprocity with them. But Greater Harrisburg, Lancaster, and Lebanon, and the associations in the Trend marketplace are all under the Supra system. So while this MLS merger does not include lockboxes at this time, we believe that this would be the next step, that once all of our associations would be under the same MLS system, the next issue to tackle would be a merger of the lockbox systems at that point. And if nobody else asks the question from the other association executives, I would be sure to raise that point that says, we're under one MLS, we should all be under the same lockbox system as well. So what is the financial impact on the association? So I don't think it's any secret here that RAAC has been heavily reliant on our MLS income, and 60% of our total income is derived from the MLS. So that is going to be a total net loss of $430,000 a year to RAAC. So what are we going to do to make up for that income loss? Well, we are exploring non-dues revenue options. We've expanded the scope of our real estate school. We are going closely over our budget and cutting expenses where it makes sense without having to cut services. And as part of the contract with MLS Evolve, they are giving us some initial benefits that would help to wean us off of our MLS income, for lack of a better word. So they would be purchasing our listing data history and giving us a total of $953,000 over 3 years. In addition, that they would be giving us subscriber fees, which is based upon the number of primary realtor members we have over a 3-year period, totaling $95,000. They're going to give us a one-time payment for the use of our facility to do training in the amount of $5,000. And they're going to give us the potential to apply for government affairs grant dollars, which could total about $5,000 per year. What will be the impact on your local board dues? And the Budget Finance Committee is reviewing this piece, and we haven't made a final determination on the dues level. There will not be an increase in local dues for 2017, but the Budget Finance Committee has talked about a potential dues increase of $25 to $50 a year in the future. The idea being that once we get to year 3 of the MLS conversion, RAAC members will be saving $155 per year with the MLS conversion. If we could increase dues $25 to $50, you're still saving over $100 per year than what you're paying right now. What will be the impact on staff? And we were able to negotiate that the MLS Evolved would hire 2 of our MLS staff members at RAAC. I can tell you that when it was June of 2015, RAAC had 10 staff members here at the association. Today we have 6, and as members of staff have retired, we have backfilled those positions and spread out those responsibilities among the existing RAAC staff members here. So if you talk to any of the RAAC staff members, please give them a really big thank you, because right now 6 people are doing the work of what 10 people once did, and I don't think members have seen any drop in services. So all of the RAAC staff members have been working really hard to ensure that we are best prepared if the membership decides to vote for this MLS merger. So please, give them a thank you. They're doing a really, really good job for all of you. So what services will be cut? And as a board, we've looked at this issue, and we're of the opinion that even with a reduced staff and reduced income, that we're going to be able to provide many and the majority of the services that you as members currently receive. But we are going through an evaluation of all of our services to ensure that we're giving you the best services possible and the most needed services possible. And if there are things that we're doing that don't make sense or that they're not benefiting the membership as a whole, that those are some services that we may consider cutting in the future. Do we need to sell the building? And the short answer to that is no. So the current outstanding mortgage balance on the building is $743,000. And we've just recently relocked our finance rate, so we have a lower rate. I believe before it was 5.5%, and now we've relocked in at 4.1%. So we have some savings there in terms of our interest payments. But one of the things that our past leadership had done is they had always had this discussion of there is the potential that one day we could lose our MLS income. So in the past, there has been money that has been put aside if in case that does happen. And we also are required to keep in a reserves account, 3 months of expenses. So right now, the available money that we have in cash and investments as part of those reserves, as part of those board-designated reserves in place, is we have $1.3 million. And for lack of a better word, that's our rainy day fund in case something like this, like losing 60% of your income, were ever to happen, that we would be in a good financial position, that we would be able to weather that happening until we could readjust to our new normal with our income and expenses without having that MLS income in the future. So that should make all of you feel very comfortable that past leadership had the forethought to put that much money aside for us. Do we need to merge our association with another association? And the short answer to that is no. There are 1,200 local associations across the country, and there are only 752 MLS systems in the country. So that means that 40% of the local associations do not have an MLS. And many of those associations without an MLS are inter-region, and they are providing good services to their members. So while in our area, it has been very common that the association is also where you go to get your MLS services. It's not as common in other parts of the country. And so I just wanted to give you a list of some of the associations that are regional to our area who don't own an MLS, but they're doing quite well. So the Carroll County Association, in Maryland, they have 475 members, and they're a part of MRIS. They don't own their own individual MLS, and they have 4 staff members. Penmar, to our west, which is Franklin and Fulton counties, has 610 members, and they have 3 staff members of the association. Reading Berks is part of the Trend MLS system. They have 824 members, and they have 4 staff. Frederick County, to our immediate south, has 886 members and 4 staff members, and Hartford County, Maryland, they have just about the same size as we do, with the 1,131 primary board members, and they have 5 staff. So I think that, I've had conversations with many of these AEs about what services they provide, what non-dues revenue they have outside of the MLS income. But I think RAAC has always had a very strong association. We've done a lot of really, really good things here, and I don't think there's any secret magic that you can absolutely exist without having an MLS system, and I'm sure that despite not having that MLS income, that we will continue to be a strong association who will provide the services to our members and ensure that we are making that realtor brand strong in our community. So what are the benefits to joining now rather than waiting? So there are guaranteed benefits to join as a charter association now. The listing payments, the subscription payments, the hiring of the MLS staff here at the association at MLS Evolved, and if we join today, but we can't guarantee that those benefits will be there in the future if we decide to join at a later time. So one of the pieces that the board had asked me to ensure that the membership was clear on is what is all included in that MLS services agreement. So some of this I've shared with you already, but I'm just going to run back down through all of the things that are encompassed in that services agreement so you're all on the same page. First is that the contract is that RAAC would have a seat on the board of directors for 3 years. Brokers would be able to participate in the Brokers Reward Program. And what that is for our brokers who participate in MRIS, is that based upon the number of listings that you have in the MLS system who are compliant with the MLS rules and regulations, you get a certain percentage of a reward financial feedback for having listings that are compliant with the rules and regulations. And if we would join under the contract, our brokers would be eligible for that rewards program as well. Part of the contract is that we would get compensation of the listing data, and that they are going to pay us $4.45 per listing, and that's a total of $953,000 over that 3-year period. They were also going to give us the compensation for our subscribers, and again, I believe that was over 3 years, that's about $95,000. And RAAC would be eligible for that Government Affairs Grant Support Program, which could net us $5,000 per year in grant dollars. They would hire 2 of our MLS employees as part of the contract, and they would pay us that one-time fee of $5,000 to utilize our facility for training purposes. Other pieces that are included in the MLS services agreement really address what would happen if any unforeseen circumstances in the future and we would decide to cancel that agreement and no longer participate in the regional system. As part of this contract, we are transferring our data history to MLS Evolved. That means all of our sold data, all of our expired, withdrawn, pendings, active, all of that is going to be owned by MLS Evolved forever in the future. They own all of the intellectual property rights. And if we cancel the agreement with MLS Evolved in the future, they would continue to own all of that data. We would be able to license back that property data for the use in recreating our own MLS again. And for all intents and purposes, the relicensing would be able to use the data in the way we need it as part of the new MLS system, but we would not own that data and they would continue to use it in MLS Evolved. If we decide to terminate the agreement, MLS Evolved would provide assistance to us to convert the listing content into a new system. If we were to terminate without cause, that would require a 1-year prior written notice to MLS Evolved. And if we terminate without cause, we would need to pay back half of all of the listing content payments that they gave us and half of all of the subscriber payments that they paid us. And the agreement would require that RAAC cannot solicit any MLS Evolve participants or subscribers, and that it will not create a competing MLS while we are under contract with them. So that is the contract that we have on the table today. I will say that there are pieces of this that our board of directors has gone back and requested some changes to make it a little bit more favorable in terms of the termination piece of it. We are waiting to hear back from the MLS Evolved Visioning team whether or not they will accept some of those requested changes. But what I'm sharing with you today is everything that is in the contract as it is today. So if they reject some of the changes that we requested, this is what we would be agreeing to in terms of the current contract. And we are hopeful that we would get back their response on any of those changes prior to the October 12th meeting. But one of the pieces to keep in mind is that MLS Evolved hasn't been formally formed as an entity just yet. They are hoping that they will be formally formed at the end of October, and it's the hope that they would know everyone who is in and who is continuing to participate and will be joining MLS Evolved, so that as soon as the entity is formed, we would be able to participate on that board of directors as a representative at that time. So when will the membership vote on the merger? The annual business meeting is where the members will vote on the MLS merger. That is scheduled for Wednesday, October 12th at 9 a.m. at the Wyndham Garden, and you need to register in advance by October 5th. So right now, I believe we have 196 members who have registered. In order to have quorum, we need 203. I think is the exact number for quorum. I don't think we're going to have a problem reaching quorum. But if you haven't registered yet, please do so. We need you to do so by October 5th. Of the members who are present at that meeting, it will require a supermajority vote in favor of the MLS merger, and 2/3 of the meeting attendees would need to vote in favor of the merger to amend the bylaws. So with that, we are going to open it up, and you can type your questions into the chat bar, and Tony and I are going to answer those questions. And all right, so I see we have one already from Jim, and he says, to terminate, how much money is half of the listing content and subscriber payments? And the answer to that, Jim, is it depends on where we are at that point. So they are scheduled to pay us the listing content of that $953,000 over a 3-year period and the $95,000 in subscriber payments over a 3-year period. So if we were to terminate, let's say in year 2, we would be paying back half of whatever they paid us at that point.
And also, thank you to Cindy Mann for answering that question. For those of you who don't know who Cindy Mann is, she is our 2016 treasurer. So when it comes to the dollars and cents, she has those answers.
And Jim asks, where does the $940,000? It's $953,000 over 3 years. That is the listing content payment. So where that number came from, how it is calculated, is it's based upon $4.45 per listing that we will be selling to MLS Evolve. That's where that $953 over 3 years comes from.
I can see that we have members that are typing in questions. So
it says no to pay back. Jim's question is, where does that money come from to pay back if we decide to cancel? And I don't know that I have a really good answer. Where does that money come from? I'm assuming it would come out of our reserves funds that we have at the association if we would decide to cancel. But obviously we would be able, that money that's coming in, we would be paying it back. I see there's people typing, so I'm just waiting for the actual type question to come up. So don't be shy with your questions. This is really your opportunity to get them answered. This is really like watching water boil. I'm anticipating that it's going to happen soon, and I see the typing, but nothing's populating yet. All right, so Ann asked, do you have any insight as to why the Lehigh Valley did not come on board? Well, I think if we look at the map here, let's see if I can get back there fairly quickly, in that their geographic position, one too many. Their geographic position, if you look here, this is the Lehigh Valley, this green area right here, is they're kind of on the border of MLS Evolved. So they would still continue to have the issue of members who are having to belong to multiple MLS systems. And they felt, I can't speak directly, but from what I understand is they felt that their members identified a little bit more with some of the other MLSs surrounding their areas as opposed to the Trend MLS system. And that they felt that they were providing a really great system to their members and that they wanted to continue to do so at this time. All right, so James Schreiner, he's asking, each county has different data available and intact in the CAMA records. Would love to have a unified data set across counties. Will we be able to ask for data we want from counties, or will counties dictate what data is provided, thereby potentially negating any unification of data sets? So, James, I'm not sure I have a really good answer for you, except to say that, we have that issue as well here in York and Adams counties. York County is very diligent at updating their information and providing us with really good feeds. We need to be really on the task with Adams County, who doesn't have as responsive and quick feedback on their data feeds. I think that that's an issue where the MLS Evolved staff will continue to work with the respective county organizations to get the data that our members need. One of the things that I will reference here is that when we have seen some demos of MLS Evolved from Trend, they did not show the sketches from the county tax assessment records. And as many of you know, we do have those sketches available and our members utilize those sketches. And so we have been working with them to ensure that while other counties may not provide sketches of the properties, our two counties do, and that our members need to have access to that information. So we continue to work in that regard. Janet Nicholson said, will the new MLS fees be billed annually? And they haven't fully answered that question yet in terms of what they had talked about briefly is all of the fees are quoted in monthly, but they haven't made a final determination whether it'll be monthly or whether it'll be quarterly. Anne asked, is there a improvement in creating a CMA with this new software versus our current format? From what I had seen in the demo that they had produced here at the association, they had a pretty robust CMA platform there. I would suggest maybe watching that webinar that we had done in August. It is on RAAC.com under the MLS merger website. You can see a little bit about the CMA platform they have there. David, always happy to help in educating you in any way you need.
Thanks, Dave.
I'm seeing there's more questions come through. I'm just waiting for them to come through and we'll answer it. David asked, you stated earlier that GeoJet is going away. Yes, so GeoJet is not part of the MLS Evolved platform. They do use a Bing mapping system that has some similar features to the GeoJet platform, but no, GeoJet will not be a part of MLS Evolved. Will we still have access to the program or just no mapping? So you're going to have a mapping program through MLS Evolved, but you would not have access to GeoJet at all. Again, I see lots of people are typing. I love it. Please ask us more questions. That's what we're here for, so don't be shy.
Thank you, Janet and Jim. I'm waiting for someone to have a question for me. I'd love to answer a question. Give me a layup, somebody.
You're welcome, Anne.
Yeah, we have some more questions coming in.
This would be the time for you to start singing, Tony, to fill the gap until the questions come in.
I think they'd start hanging up.
All right, so Michelle Best asked, GeoJet currently shows flood data as well as location within a tax map, both of which are important for appraisers. Will these features be included in the Bing system? Definitely the flood data was available in the Bing map that we saw in the webinar on the Matrix 360, and part of their bread and butter, what they claim at the Matrix 360 program, is that it does full integration with the public records and the listing data information. So when they were showing the mapping tool, when you were going over the parcels, you were able to see the county tax assessment records of the parcels that were surrounding your subject property. So I believe, Michelle, that yes, the answer to your question is yes. Who controls, Erica asked, who controls listing syndication and what listing info is included? Erica, to answer your question, it's always the broker who controls the listing syndication. I assume that what will happen, as what happens here at RAAC, is we work out contracts with vendors and who is going to be able to do the syndication. We develop those contracts on the member's behalf, but then it is always the broker's choice where their listings are syndicated and to whom.
Any other questions, thoughts, or comments?
I see some typing. Okay, presentation indicated RAAC will provide data MLS Evolve becoming property of the MLS Evolve system. In the event RAAC wants to break away and reconstitute an MLS Evolve will license our data back. I'd like to suggest this is a backwards proposition. This could present a financial barrier to RAAC reconstituting itself in the future. To prevent this false option, RAAC should retain ownership but license data to MLSE. No fee structures would need to change. In my opinion, simply reverse the licensure relationship. Can this be taken under advisement by RAAC? James, I think you bring up a good point, but I don't know that it would be received positively by MLS Evolved because that $953,000 is to purchase the data and to become owners of that intellectual property rights information. But it's something that I can bring up to the board of directors for further discussion. But again, I don't think that they would respond, the MLS Evolved visioning team would respond favorably to that option. Janet Nicholson, is access to deeds included in the public record links? And they have indicated that the deeds would be included. Am I correct in that, Tony? I'm pretty sure I've seen that as part of it.
Yeah, deeds will be included is what we're being told.
Will the new system include listing photos as the MLS does now, and will it include online seller disclosures as are currently available? Michelle, the answer to that is yes and yes.
A lot of the things that our MLS has, this new MLS Evolve will also have, and in many cases, not only will it have the same thing, but the technology behind it will be better. So we pretty much were ahead of the curve as far as what we provided in our MLS. And the question is, can we maintain that moving into the future? And, you know, this is one of the considerations for MLS Evolve. Any more comments, questions, opinions? We'll take them all. All right. Well, it is 2:58 right now, so do you mind if we just hold it open for another 2 minutes, and then we could wrap up at 3?
Sure.
So if anyone has anything else they'd like to push forward in the last 2 minutes, please do so now.
Okay, I see we have a bunch of people typing.
Okay.
How much input will RAIAC and other MLSs have in determining what information MLS data sheets present? I've seen MRS data sheets and found them to be extremely Spartan. RAIAC is a gold standard that I'd like to see continued. I think RAIAC is always a gold standard. Would you agree, Tony?
I agree.
In many things that we do. So as part of the conversion plan, what we had been told is that we could really customize some things. And this is one of the questions that I had posed very early on, because I know there are certain things that RAIAC requires, that is mandated in our MLS system that other MLS systems do not, square footage being one of them, that it requires us, we require that the total square footage is one of the input fields that need to be there. What we have under those discussions is, so we could say locally that when you're entering in properties into York and Adams counties, that one of the required fields is total listing square foot, but maybe that's not required everywhere in the 6 states and Washington, D.C. area. So that there is supposed to be a customizable piece that we will work very hard to ensure that all of the information that you're getting in RAIAC would be available in MLS Evolve, customized to this area, which isn't something that's unique to them, because this is going to be an issue, because this is going to include, you know, the coastal pieces, and obviously information that you would need to sell a home in, you know, coastal Maryland is going to be different information that you're going to need in York and Adams County, just like information that you need to sell in Baltimore City is going to be different than what you're going to need to sell in Peach Bottom, for example. So the intent is to make it as customizable as possible. So actually when you guys log into the system, it's going to know that you are a RAIAC member, identify as such, provide you local information that's tailored to the York and Adams County market. And thanks for the shout out for the staff members at RAIAC. I think they're pretty awesome too. Tony, yes, you should say yes, absolutely.
I agree 100%. I saw earlier that, you know, we're missing some of the services. I remember a few years ago when you pulled up on a rainy day, staff would come out to the car with an umbrella and escort you in the building. They don't do that anymore, but all the other services we are going to keep.
We'll look at bringing that back for you, Tony. All right, Lisa, yes, the webinar is being recorded. After we have finished up the webinar today, we will make that link available online so that members who weren't able to see the entire webinar are able to see it at a later time. Michelle, I think I answered that question about the above grade square footage, and yep, I think I answered that one, Michelle. If I didn't, you know, you can always give me a phone call. We can talk about it further.
Okay. There's some more typing coming in, and as we're wrapping up, we'll answer those questions, but I'd like to thank everyone for participating today. I hope that they've received all the information that they needed. And if you have any questions, you can still certainly contact Shauna. You can contact myself or any of the board members who you may see out and about or in your office, and we'll answer questions right up to the day that we vote. So thanks for joining us today. We have a couple more questions.
So Rose, yes, it is a different platform. MRIS is a core logic platform called Matrix. The system that we are looking to go to would be Matrix 360. So it is a different platform than both RAAC and both MRIS, but it is the same vendor that MRIS uses. It is CoreLogic's Matrix 360. It is a platform that is utilized by Trend. Okay. James asked, do we have any indications of whether commercial brokers are on board with this? If so, how many? I would say the best bet there, James, is you would probably want to reach out to some commercial members. I can't speak for them to say where they are, but I can say this, that the commercial market is very different than the residential market, meaning that they are much more accustomed to having to advertise on a different platform than even just our MLS system here locally with CoStar and LoopNet, because you could have a potential buyer who is looking at an entire region of a state, not just a particular county when you're working in the commercial field. So I think that there could probably be some benefits for some commercial folks here because it covers such a large territory.
And James, I know for a fact Heather Krieger, who is on our MLS Evolve task force, she's been down to Baltimore with a couple of meetings, and she's literally written letters to the presidents of Maris and Trend and explained to them how she thinks that this MLS Evolve, this regional MLS, that they may be onto something and that they should not exclusively look at residential, but also take some time to look at the impact that this could have on the commercial end of things as well. And she has volunteered her time and information to work with them to try to build that platform even further. So yet again, we have RAAC members involved in something that could be really big.
Will rental data still be available as it is now? And the intent is to give them all of the rental data that is currently in our MLS system would be given to MLS Evolve. All right, I'm not seeing any more typing. So if you have any final questions, comments here, how about we give it another minute, and then if not, we will, oh, someone's typing.
Okay. In the meantime, again, please register by October the 5th. And if you think that your vote does not count, that is a mistake. I think every vote will count when we vote on October the 12th. Aside from that, we have a really, really great program. Our program social committee has done a great job. We have a top flight speaker coming to energize us. We have breakfast that's being served. The annual event has always been a fun event. It's taken more of a serious tone this year because we have an important vote. But aside from that, everything else is going to be high energy and fun. So please come on out on October the 12th. You must register by October the 5th. It is free to come out, but if you sign up and don't show up, then there will be a $25 charge for that. So again, as we're wrapping up, any more questions? I don't see any. Is that the end?
I think we've done it.
All right. Thanks, guys. This webinar is recorded, so if you run into someone who says they missed it, log on to RAAC.com, take a look at this webinar and previous webinars involving MLS Evolve. So thanks again, and you guys have a great day. Go sell some more houses.